Look how precious this is. This little angel's having her toes kissed by her dog. He is a 12-year-old rescue named Porter, and Mom says he comforts the 5-month-old Vivian by laying next to her. And with that hug for your heart, we want to say welcome to Afternoon Focus. I'm Julie Grant.
And I'm Scott Withers, in for Rob Nelson, who is home with his newborn and toddler and wife. Thanks so much for joining us on this fantastic Friday. That was a great way to start, too.
So cute, yes.
Dogs just know, they know when you need a little hug or a little kiss. I love cuddling up next to Kane at home.
Animals are incredible. They really are. They're gifts from heaven.
Absolutely. Well, and we begin, as always, from the top of our feed. And we begin with an overnight success story that took decades. One TikTok to make work.
Yeah, we want to show you Lloyd Richards holding a copy of his new book, Stone Maidens. It's now a bestseller on Amazon, more than 12 years after it was first published.
So what happened? Well, his daughter made a TikTok to honor the 14 years of work her dad had put into writing that book, which didn't really fly off the shelves. Well, take a look and read the captions.
The monster's gone, he's on the run, and your daddy's here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. Monster's gone.
Oh, and if those captions went by too quickly, we get it, we understand. So what she did was she wrote that her dad worked so hard in the book, she would love to see him get some sales. By the next morning, the video had about 1 million views.
Wow.
Now her dad's book was one of the top mystery novels as well on Amazon. He's now 4.5 years into his work on the sequel. He's hoping to get a publisher, which hopefully will be a little easier for him now.
This is just one of those ways that social media can just take off and change your life. So that is fantastic that she really believed in her dad and was willing to help him. And he probably had no idea how to make a TikTok.
No,
right?
She even, in the last caption, again, it went back by quickly.
Sure
but
did.
if you look it up, you'll see she said, my dad doesn't even know what TikTok is. You know, he's busy writing books. Good for him. You know, it's a different generation. And so how cool that she harnessed, you know, this, you know, following, you know, that she has, and maybe used hashtags and things to garner more of a following, put it out there into the TikTok universe, and voila, we got a bestseller now.
And totally changed his life. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I might have to read that this weekend. I'll check it out.
Yes. Well, this next story we have for you is a super cool one on a couple different levels. Now, remember earlier this week we told you about that newly released video of the original Titanic dive? Well, now we're getting some scoop on a new discovery.
This one's a lot older. 527 years after the Royal Danish ship Gribshunden sank in 1495, scientists say they've discovered what they call a medieval pantry in its remains. Get this, they found 40 different types of fruits, vegetables, spices, nuts, and cereals, all in impressively semi-preserved conditions. Now, many of the fruits, they say, actually retained their original color and the skin, and the saffron found in the remains, well, amazingly, still retained its distinctive aroma. Researchers credit the impressive preservation that the Baltic Sea's cold temperature and low salinity provided to that food. That is amazing.
Fascinating stuff right there. Wow.
I can't even keep like fruits and vegetables okay in my kitchen
fridge.
for a week.
I know, yeah.
I'm going to need some whatever they got going on in the Baltic. That's for
definitely.
Sure.
Well, any parent or grandparent who has ever experienced the school drop-off line knows that it's up there with this is so funny. Getting a root canal and tax preparation. I love our producer's writing. It's just, it's incredible.
It's horrible. I don't have kids, but when you get stuck in one of those lines, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So, well, with that in mind, a school principal in Arizona is taking his talent to the curb to make mornings a little brighter. Our friend Sean Daly has the story.
It's kind of funny to see him just like in the front of the school while everybody's walking in.
To me, connections with my students, connections with my families, it just really is a crucial part of what we do. It helps to just build trust.
I'm walking out of Rampello K-8 Magnet School in downtown Tampa with a rock star. They love Principal Justin Yeomans here.
Good morning, Madeline.
Especially when he plays his acoustic guitar during morning car line.
Did you ever think about just plugging in, do a little shredding?
I said he should pull a Dylan and go electric.
You know, something that could possibly happen one day. We'll see.
There are no buses at Rampello. Everyone walks or drives. Car line can be intense. So parents say the music is a gift.
It makes the kids very happy coming in knowing that their principal is out here putting in FaceTime.
When the self-taught guitarist first started playing outside, this man who grew up loving Nirvana and Oasis, students were surprised. But now it's all smiles for this academic troubadour.
Younger kids here, they're great. You play guitar really well, so, you know, it's great for my ego.
Oh my goodness. Is he the coolest principal around? Huh?
I never had principals like that when I was in school. They were talking to me much differently, but that is fantastic because school can just be overwhelming and good for the kids because it really gets them started the right way on their day.
Definitely, especially for the young ones too, you know, who might miss their parents.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it can be an emotional experience.
A little scary.
And emotional for the parents too. Some of my, you know, good girlfriends, like they'll like film videos in the TikTok line or, you know, sometimes film their kids depending on what's going on for the day in the class and all that. So yeah, this is a nice way to be uplifting and have some fun.
When you drive past one of those schools and you see those lines, you're like, I'm glad I'm not in that. So this will be helpful for all those parents.
Yeah.
Lots of principals need to be doing that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get your popcorn ready as we bring you a few quick stories you can share with your friends and family, stuff that we just like to know that's fun.
And our focus this afternoon is on one of the most recognizable symbols and most highly respected organizations in the world, the Red Cross. 160 years ago, the International Committee for Relief of the Wounded, was founded. At first, the organization served as a coordinator to help take care of wounded soldiers, but then it later evolved into a more active role in the field. And that is why one of the most famous names in nursing originally spoke out against the idea of the organization.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Can you guess who?
Florence Nightingale?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, Florence Nightingale said that such a group would take on the responsibilities which she thought belonged to the governments responsible for the wars. She reasoned that the existence of an international aid unit would make it easier for leaders to wage war. I hadn't thought about that. Well, since some of the burden of that care of the wounded would then be lifted off the governments. She changed her mind, though, eventually, and supported the foundation of the British Red Cross in 1870.
Oh, how wonderful.
I can't even imagine a world without the Red Cross right now.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
I know.
it's so important in natural disasters
Yes.
and wars all around the world.
Yes. You know, and this is a great time to mention, too, if you're looking to do something charitable, give blood. If you can, do it. You know, it's a minor inconvenience that can do a world of good, and you never know whose life you could be saving, or lives, depending on how much you're able to give and how often. So think about that. If you're looking to give back, that's a really great way.
Yeah. And finally, the Red Cross has won more Nobel Prizes, I didn't know that, than anyone else.
The number is 3, which proves how difficult it is to win just one. The first 2 were earned during World Wars I and II. Then the third prize was shared with the group that oversees national Red Cross organizations in 187 countries.
They definitely deserve an applause for that and all the hard work. And that's one of the groups, whenever there's a disaster, if you don't know who to donate to, just always donate to the Red Cross. They will take care of the money properly and use it properly every single time.
Point, Scott, you are absolutely right. Oh, well, we are so glad you're with us on this Friday. Stay put. There are more inspiring stories ahead for you, including one where you're going to meet a woman who's changing lives by delivering a simple device to those in need.
A light had turned on. Even in their eyes, you could see the spark came on, and their personality changed.
Thanks for staying with us. Meet Port and Starboard here. After spending 3 months in rehab, they're finally heading back into the ocean where they belong. These 2 endangered turtles were treated by the staff at a turtle hospital in Key West, Florida. Now they are ready to go on and swim and live their best of life there, Scott.
They're not wasting any time either. They're like, well, thanks. See y'all later. We're out of here. I love those animal recovery and release stories, seeing everybody get back to where they belong. It always just makes makes you feel so good.
Yes. You know, we think a lot of times about domestic animals being rescued at shelters, but then there are wonderful wildlife rehabilitation organizations that do just that, like that hospital in Key West, that get these animals up and running again so they can go back into the wild.
Especially turtles, sea turtles, endangered. We got to save all of them. So, well, this past December, some folks in Puerto Rico received an incredible gift. The gift of sound.
Robert Boyd spoke to a woman on a humanitarian mission to help those in need be able to hear.
I want you to hear her voice for the first time.
Family after family receiving the gift of sound, all thanks to the power of a small but mighty device many Americans take for granted.
It was life-changing for us and life-changing for them as well.
Melinda Schaefer helped distribute and fit hearing aids to more than 100 people, ranging in age from seniors to teenagers.
They would say things like, oh my gosh, I can hear myself walk. I can hear myself talk. I didn't know what I was missing before. You know?
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel really incredible. We had tears of joy and wanting to know exactly who that they could thank. Hi, Mary.
And the answer is the patients and staff of Zephyr Hills Miracle Ear, who raised more than $11,000 to serve a population that couldn't afford the device on their own.
We wanted to help them in time for Christmas.
Melinda says she completely forgot about the language barrier because hugs and smiles are universal.
A light had turned on. Even in their eyes, you could see the spark came on and their personality changed.
Now back in Zephyr Hills, Melinda says she will never forget the people she met and the impact her profession had on their lives.
Those people that we fit, they actually came out even in the days after they were already fit because they wanted to say goodbye to us and wanted to make sure that they thanked us again.
It's life-changing. It's life-changing for people who have a hearing disability and then can once again, hear beautiful things, namely the voices of their loved ones, and then live life to the fullest extent.
And we talked about this earlier this week when we had the little boy who was colorblind and then he could see. So this is one of those things that most of us take for granted every day, our vision, our sight, but there's many of us around that don't have that. So when you see an organization like this and doctors that are doing something, helping those people out, it means a lot because I can't even imagine not being able to hear all day or not being able to see all day because my life is so used to that. So applause to all of them, for everybody that does that helps those people out.
Yes, amen, my friend. You said it so well. And I liked what you said about things that we take for granted. If we are blessed enough to be healthy enough to have all of our senses, think about that when you think about life's problems. They're not so bad when you realize what other people are going through.
Puts everything into perspective immediately. Yeah. It really does.
Oh, we love the great work that doctor, definitely a magic maker. Oh my goodness. And coming up after this break, we'll introduce you to a musician who's using his strings to tell stories from the past, hoping that they'll guide future generations of music makers. Back. For many people, the sound of a banjo reminds them maybe of bluegrass music, performed mostly by white artists. But for most of its history, the banjo was played by black musicians.
I didn't know that. Our friend Chris Stewart traveled to find the true origin of the instrument.
This is Jake Blunt using his banjo to tell stories of the past. Each note is a step toward helping his audience better understand a piece of black history he worries has been lost.
I play traditional black folk music.
The banjo is not exclusive to one musical style, but today it is largely associated with country and bluegrass, two genres that have struggled with diversity.
It isn't typically thought of as a black instrument anymore.
But the banjo is deeply rooted in African American tradition.
The banjo had its first big site of growth in this country amongst the enslaved population in the Chesapeake Bay region, who were my ancestors. So you go down and kind of catch your thumb on the drone string and then pop that off, and it kind of gives you that kind of pattern. It's all clawhammer style, which is a style of banjo that definitely comes from the African lineage of the instrument.
Jake told me last year he spent more than 120 nights on the road performing. He says with each show, he's teaching people how the banjo came to be part of American culture.
What we know is that when enslaved people came to the Americas, they had either the physical instruments that they brought from Africa or the knowledge of how to make them. So this is an accounting, which is played by the Jola people. This is kind of what the banjo is likely descended from. The banjo, alongside a dance called the kalenda, emerged as kind of the first Black American cultural thing that was not just inherited from a specific culture group in Africa, but was created here by Black people collectively. So it's kind of one of the very first things that we made here in the Americas.
Jake also says as instrument makers began to target white consumers, much of the banjo's African American identity faded.
When you go up on stage, what do you want the audience to learn when you play your music?
I think when I play my music, I'm trying to give a little bit of a window into what people might have been thinking or feeling back then.
He also told me why it's important during a month when we recognize Black history, we recognize the contributions of those who were part of it, who he says aren't talked about enough.
The music that we have passed down from that time is the most complete and in some ways the most honest text we have to tell us what our ancestors thought of the world, the way that they saw things and who they wanted us to be.
I had no idea.
No, who knew there was so much rich history with the banjo? And probably the biggest takeaway from that story was that enslaved people were the ones who essentially brought that instrument into what we know now, as a music genre,
right.
In the world.
Yeah, because I thought it was much more Appalachian Mountains. I did not in Kentucky. I did not know the history of it, and I love the sound. When you hear a banjo play, you know it's a banjo, and it's just so it's electric because it's got a lot of energy behind it.
You're right. It's a very distinct sound. I love when I hear a banjo or like horns. Sometimes when you listen to music, if you hear a horn, it's exciting because it's different from a lot of nothing wrong with guitars. Don't get me wrong. I love it all.
No,
appreciate it all.
Right, but this is really that was a great story to focus in on an instrument that most of us just don't even really focus on.
Who knew?
Very
How
nice.
it was brought here.
Can you play anything?
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean nothing.
No, nothing.
Zero talent on the couch today when it comes to musical
totally.
instruments, right?
Well, it's funny. Speaking of the banjo, my fiance can play it. So he's a musician. He's a singer. Songwriter. He plays guitar, mostly acoustic guitar, and more of a rhythm guitar player. He'll tell you he's more of a singer, but he can play the banjo and the harmonica too. He's talented, and so I like that. He's got it in one of his songs, and that's the reason why I like the song. Is only
great.
Because of the banjo.
Can't play anything over here. Not even a triangle.
We'll get you a music lesson, Scotty Withers. Yes, one of these days on Afternoon Focus. Stay right there. When we come back, we'll show you how some dogs are making days brighter by delivering gifts to kiddos in the hospital.
Oh, that's so cute. Welcome back. Rounding out our Feel Good Friday is this sweet duo of dogs delivering Valentine's Day cards to a children's hospital just earlier this week.
Their names are Dexter and Pilot, and they served up some cuddles, for the kiddos as well. Oh my gosh, look how
so cute. Oh, look, he's jumped right up to hand off the Valentine.
Oh my gosh.
That just warms your heart.
It really does.
Those types of dogs, the big old cuddles. Love dogs.
Animals
can't ever go wrong.
Amazing. They can do some things that humans just can never do and bring you feelings that just, humans can't bring you. They're so unique and wonderful creatures.
Yeah, love them. Love them, love them, love them.
And please join us on Monday. We would love that. We're going to be visiting an eclectic art museum that's proving that beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder.
We collect, exhibit, and celebrate art that will be noticed in no other venue. The ones that are most interesting to me are paintings that you look at it and you go, this isn't right.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to tune in and watch y'all next week.
Yes, please, Scott.
Absolutely. Well, that's our show for today. We want to hear from you, though.
Yeah, please send us your ideas. Leave them for us on our Facebook page, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here on Monday afternoon, same time, same couch.
Have a great weekend.